My name is James Evans. I'm an organic farmer from Partridge Farm, Linley in Bishop's Castle. So I farm here with my family. I'm a fourth generation farmer. If I just show you the farm really in itself, it's 1,700 acres. In that we've got quite a lot of hill land, some moorland here. All the purple on here is moorland. This is a very large wooded area. We go right up through the valley with a lot of permanent pasture and quite rough grazing. Probably got a 400 acre block here that was pretty much inarable, that's now been turned into a paddock grazing system. So we planted, most of that down to herbal lays really. So it's slowly but surely we're putting a hot wire around all these fences and everything on probably 1 and 2 day moves really. We run this farm on a contract farming agreement where the owner supplies the land, the buildings and the livestock, and us as the contractors we supply the machinery, the labour and the management, and we have a profit share and it works extremely well. So we're running 2 bulls, doing 70 cows really. A lot of that is to ease my management really, so we don't have to have as many groups of cattle because we're doing them on daily or 2 daily moves. But also what we're trying to do as well, we'll DNA test all the calves to try and find out who the daddy is, because we're trying to work on the eating quality issue. We're trying to get marbling better and we'll do some work on the eating quality as well. Okay, so we're farming about 1,750 acres here. We're probably running about 250 cows at the moment and 600 breeding ewes, and also trying to focus on grass-based genetics as well. So the majority of this farm now has been put down to grass. Because about 4 years ago we made the decision to switch over to organic production. It's something the owners wanted to do. It's not something that I was particularly wanted to go down, but now we've gone down that route, I've had a complete change of mindset, and I think organic production, not using any fertiliser or chemicals, actually managing my grass far better, and we're seeing far better results. Okay, so here we've got a group of 24-month-old, mainly steers. There's a few heifers in here as well. These are being all fattened off grass. These have never had any cereals at all. So we've gone to a completely grass-based system. Because we started supplying butchers and restaurants. Some of these cattle are also going to ABP as well. So we're trying to get probably about a 350 kilo carcass, between 350 and 370 kilo carcass. The butchers prefer them slightly fattier, probably a 4L finish, because that's what they want. They prefer it with a little bit more fat on. Grazing cattle like this, it isn't easy. The easiest thing to do would be to bring them in, feed them on grain in the shed, but actually the market's requiring 100% grass fed, so that's what we're trying to achieve. Okay, one thing that we've noticed when trying to graze the cattle, we're all told to sort of go in at sort of 2,500 kilos of dry matter and come out at 1,500 to 1,700 in order to maximise grass growth. But with these animals, we're trying to get as much weight on them as possible, so we're not allowing them to clear it up. We're leaving the residuals quite high. They could probably be in here another day, but in order to get these animals finished, we're just letting them have the very best, moving them on daily moves, and trying to get as much weight on these cattle as possible. Okay, so the last few years we've started plate metering. It just means I go around the farm at the moment once a month. I probably should do it a lot more. So we just go into every field and do 30 plonks, and it tells us basically how much grass we've got in our field. Basically it's telling us how much feed we've got on the farm at any one time, and also by doing it regularly it can project how much grass we will grow, how much grass we grew last year, and just give us a guide about how much silage to make really. So we've probably stopped using a lot of advice that we used to use in the past about feed, but what we're using more now is a lot more specialists about the grass we grow and the types and that. And my expertise, I'm not great on varieties or anything like that, so it's far better to get people onto the farm that are experts rather than trying to do everything yourself. Yeah, we've planted a lot of herbal lays in the last few years, and we started off with just a clover, ryegrass, chicory and plantain, but since we've grown that we've realised we need to go more diverse, and we started putting things like hairy vetch and bird's foot trefoil and far more chicory, plantain, yarrow, as much variety as we can. Purely, one of the reasons really is to benefit the animals, give them a far more varied diet. Also soil health as well. One of the key things what we're trying to do is improve our soil quality, get these rooting depths a lot deeper, act as natural aeration, and just generally improve the soil, because I think once we get healthy soils we can get far healthier animals, and they can suck up a lot of the trace elements that are in the soil. Okay, what we've got here, we're just showing basically where our cattle crush and EID and where we record everything. So everything comes into the crush. The ID reader's just above the crush. It just takes a reading of the tag, puts it onto the system, and then the animal's weighed. I just press save weight and it logs it all onto the computer. And you know, if it's simple, it's easy, you tend to do it. I try and weigh the cattle probably every 30 days. Weighing cattle, when it's good news, it's really good fun, you want to do it more often. When it's telling you that it's not the right things, you think, oh, perhaps I won't weigh them as often. But when it's good news, it's quite an enjoyable thing, and it tells you what they're gaining, what they've gained since the last weighing session, and it just, you know, helps us really to monitor if something perhaps needs worming, why something isn't particularly growing well, and you know, it just makes the job pretty simple really. We've got a spring and an autumn calving herd to have a year-round supply of beef for the restaurants. And what we're trying to do really is just do everything off grass, keep it at low cost. We sold our feeder wagons, we sold our straw choppers, so we're trying to keep everything down to a minimum, and I think that's the way to make profitable beef, is to strip out the costs but still retain a high level of production.